like before. The youth, the market people who would not want to shut down business for a day, for half a day to go and do the needful, are now beginning to do so. So awareness is beginning to rise. And with that rise has also come some challenges, particularly on the part of the politicians, trying to do what they can, by all means, to win an election by buying votes.
Now, if you look at the fact that, okay, people are going to get their PVC, a lot of people are registering now. Even this Ekiti poll that took place, it looks like it was an improvement on, voter turnout and all of that. But is that really the issue? Is it not that, okay, eventually when you get your PVC, and then they would now, at the point of voting, if I was so bad that they showed, somebody that was showing, the person that was to pay him, that look, see the person I'm voting for here, so that I can collect my money. Because the thing now, we're learning that, okay, people are no longer giving money. They want to say, okay, when you show me that you have voted for me, then I will give you the money. Now, all of that, does it mean well for our political process?
Sadly, it doesn't. And with this also comes the need for civil liberty organizations, for the Economic and Financial Crimes Organization, and for other agencies to come in and do the spade work of getting this thing to be as transparent as can be. Because I know we cannot have 100% transparency, but we can beat it down to the bare minimum. And thank God for the era in which we belong to, where we have technology now that helps us to see in real time what is going on. Such individuals, if scapegoats were made out of them, because I believe they can be traced. But I think where we have problem in this particular climate in which we live in is because people do things and then there's no consequence. There are no repercussions. If somebody had made a scapegoat of that person, because I believe that is effrontery. Now you are committing a criminal act, and here you are going ahead also to brandish it for everyone to see.
But the question is, it looks like there is an interplay, because the guy who is doing it, I remember somebody was even asking, okay, how did you place the polling booth very close in such a way that it could be shown to the person that you voted for. So is there no complicity? Don't you see a network of conspiracy?
I will agree with you. That has to be. And if we will call a spade, this thing will take active collaboration of polling agents. I hate to indict anyone, but we just need to call it what it is. This has to have been done with the active collaboration of the polling agents with some other individuals who were responsible for logistics and the arrangement of the place. Those things are not done in isolation. They are not done in isolation. One person wouldn't undertake that kind of venture alone. It has to be done with a collaboration of people. And this calls for a complete overhaul. Now, if the opposing party was properly represented and they were not bought over, I believe this is enough grounds to raise objections and to raise a red flag that here we have something that is against the Electoral Act that is being done.
Okay, we're still going to take you on that. That's even hoping that the opposing party too is not involved in the process, and then who is going to move who. You're watching New Dawn. We'll take a quick break now. When we come back, the program continues. We're looking at criminalization of vote buying, the implications, and what it portends for our democracy. Stay with us. Yeah, welcome back. You're still watching New Dawn, the Wednesday edition, and we're looking at criminalization of vote buying. We're trying to look at the implications. We're trying to look at the various dimensions. And just before we went on break, we had Mr. Bayo Olabode with us discussing. I am glad we have another man, a legal practitioner at that, who is going to help us to look at the legal implications of vote buying and every other thing that we need to discuss. Mr. Barrister Isaac Izuya, I'd like to welcome you to New Dawn.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you, our viewers.
Mr. Bayo Olabode is already here seated. And now, Barrister, before you came on, we were trying to look at, vote buying.
Okay.
We're trying to look at the implications. We're trying to look at, particularly with respect to the past recently concluded election in Ekiti. People said it was free, fair, and all of that. But then there were also insinuations and facts, actually. Some even showed the video of, where people... Now, what is the implication? And then let's look at the legal... Is there any law within the context of our election process, that stops me? Is it not my PVC? Is it not my vote? I could decide to do whatever I want to do with it. Is there a law that stops me? Is there anything that makes it practically impossible for example, as a deterrent?
All right. You have, they have not properly studied the 2022 Electoral Act. Okay. But the 2010 Electoral Act, section 130, that was criminalized it and said that you should not corruptly give, and the other person should not corruptly collect. The underlining and operative word, the denominator there is corruptly.
Okay.
So when do we determine when collection and when given is corruptly?
Okay. Now that corruptly is just highfalutin. Does it? How do you determine? What's the definition of corruptly?
That's the question.
I'm not embezzling money. I'm not. So what makes it? How do you now define that corruptly?
Now you need the law says the moment after INEC announced the date for election, whatever the person should not corruptly give and the other one should not corruptly collect.
Okay.
Now, before I delve into the true position of the law and operation of the law, I want to appreciate the fact that Nigeria is beginning to recognize vote buying. Okay. I am a youth belonging to the Sorosoke generation, and I come to the realization that Nigeria is progressing in electionary processes.
Okay.
When I was in the village, the kind of election I saw my elders there conduct was the election of, during polling, people were voting, someone would just come with a gun, and you take the stuff and go. And the next thing is millions of votes to come, they say, from that unit.
Okay. Who
templated it? I remember then it was, there's this saying in the village there that they say, pure, 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 pure. That means press, 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 press. So now Nigeria has graduated from that period of stealing ballots to the period of even recognizing that a citizen has a value, that you're paying to get that value. So now you now know that what is election process, we have left the complete violence stage to the stage where the electorate are now in charge. Whether you like it or not, they are in charge. The electorate are in charge, but the being in charge now has to do with their conscience. If we leave the stage of vote buying, we'll get to the stage of conscience voting. So we're getting to the stage of conscience voting, and that is the stage where we'll get it completely right. The stage where, remember, an average Nigerian believes that the money the man is sharing is his money, and that if I have the opportunity, I will still get this money. And the person I want to vote for, I will vote for the person. Okay. So a time will come that the politician will see that spending money for voting is no longer working. Okay. Because when the people collect money from you, they will still vote their conscience. Okay. Look at the APC primary they just conducted. It was primary buying. It was primary buying. We knew it was primary buying. Somebody came on the media, the money he recovered from primary buying, about 7 million. He was distributing and paying school fees.
It wasn't only APC, I think it was.
Other parties. Now, they were using that on media. I'm not the one saying it. It was on media. The man was using about 7 million to take care of the less privileged. And we're not concerned where how he got the money, but the fact that he said, this is my money from the primary. So, you cannot separate in Nigeria, you cannot separate money from politics. Politics is money, money is politics.
Okay. Mr. Labadi, there's an impression that, electoral offenders, are hardly punished. Do you also share that thoughts?
Well, if I would draw on what happened in Ekiti a few weeks ago, that's enough evidence that there are no repercussions, there are no penalties for wrongdoing during elections. So I think we need to step up to the plate and begin to take decisive punitive actions. Because I need to just add to what the barrister was just saying. I think when you are buying votes, you are inducing, that is wrongfully inducing another person, yes, in your own favor. And the morality of it is even wrong in the first place. But I think we need to begin to hold people account to what they do that is wrong. And I think it boils down to the fact that we have very short memories also. A lot of crimes that have been committed way back, as soon as a new one begins to trend, people forget what was done wrong in the last one. So we need to begin to hold people to account. And the agencies that are charged with this responsibility will need to come alive.
Okay. Well, Barrister, are there enough laws to stop this from happening? Because I could recall in 2017 where a 10-year jail term was proposed for electoral offenders. But currently, do you think we have enough laws?
Yes. The problem of generally, our problem is not whether there are enough laws. Our problem is enforcement of that laws and obedience to that law. If you travel abroad, when you eat something, even if there are no trash can, you somehow put it in your bag or somewhere. Then you dispose it when you come to a comfortable place. If you're driving and you buy something, a Nigerian will just fly it through the window. But rather than keep it in the car, anytime you get to it, you just pack the whole thing and put. But because there's this habit of disobedience than obedience, that's the problem we have. There are laws, but the issue you will now have is the politicians will only put life into this law when it affects their office. If it did not, if the whatever offense or whatever crime that has taken place, if it does not affect the victory or the losing man is not protesting, those things will follow. Because the policemen that were there are supposed to take care of the interest of the masses for peace of the society and for obedience of law and order. A lot of time they are busy chasing other things that I don't know. But in doing that, you discover that those that have committed those electoral offenses, the first issue we'll have is prosecuting electoral offenses is a bit technical. It's not like direct, you steal my goods, you have stolen, we'll prosecute you. Do you have the kind of evidence you need is not a direct evidence. And the kind of persons you need to come and testify may not come to testify. And where these are, the prosecutor will be weak and you may not be able to continue with the case. You need to video what I am doing to come and tell the court. Somebody needs to see, I saw him when he was doing it, to come and tell the court. Somebody needs to present a paper. Who will present these papers? Who will come and say, I saw him? Who will bring this video for us to prosecute? And the second issue is where they'll be clamoring, and I think it is high time we started it. Create a special tribunal, a special court for electoral offenses, so that it will speed. I remember my in-law was prosecuting this 23 INEC official in Rivers State then. I didn't know how the case ended, but I knew from Abuja he was going to prosecute them. So there are prosecution. 23 INEC offenses, INEC officers and the rest, they were prosecuted in Port Harcourt, but I don't know how that case ended. But prosecution is ongoing. But the issue is, where is the evidence? The court of law is a court of fact and evidence. The court say based on the evidence before me, not based on what I was told, not based on what the judge himself even saw. It is based on what you present. So if you're able to present your case clearly, why not? But will you, in electoral activities, come up to bring such cases to court, except it affects your candidate?
But where it affects your candidate, or it does not even affect your candidate, there are voters,
Yes.
particularly at every polling unit,
Yes.
who maybe I should even use a personal experience. I think it was 2011 or thereabouts, and the guy was actually paying people. He would just call them, pay for us, we'll give you. I think he was giving them 1,000. We were trying to dissuade him, but nobody was saying anything. You didn't get a backup, so it was like you were alone. But the good thing was that the people at that time knew, the implication. Eventually, they didn't vote for the guy, and then it began to raise.
You see the conscious voting.
No, that takes me to the question. You have talked about the fact that it's difficult, but this thing is becoming a little much more dangerous. Okay, we saw the primaries, we talked about delegate buying. Somebody even they even said some people even graduated to aspirant buying, and all, So and we talk these things with glee. We talk with joy. We say, and even people you think should know the implication of all of these things. So the question you are now asking is it our norm? Is it our norm? Are we wired like this?
Is it acceptable norms of value of politics?
Is it the way we are?
When I was growing up, we were taught that culture is the people's way of life.
Okay.
But bad enough, it's a bad political norms and values that we are inheriting, and we are not criminalizing, and we are not kicking against. But one thing I'm very sure is the change in political activities. Okay. Now we're beginning to see that delegates are important. Now we're beginning to see that voters are important. The electorate, I call it the office of the citizens. Okay. The office of the citizen is an important office you need to recognize. The next phase of electoral processes you're going to have is me and what I want to do for my country. Now it is me and what I want to do for this person. Before, in the previous elections we have had, the issue of delegates is something overnight. You just see somebody will just be pronounced. But now we are seeing the transparent process. People are following up. Social media, I was reading yesterday, somebody was saying a lot of persons were at the door shouting, PVC is our right, PVC is our right. Can you imagine a Nigerian leaving his work, leaving what he's doing, and coming to say PVC is my right, PVC is my right? That's to say, he's beginning to recognize the power of PVC, the power in PVC. And I know that most electoral laws are observed in breach rather than in obedience. But as we forge ahead in politics, I am very optimistic that a lot of things will become transparent to the extent that a blind man will see that it is transparent. And if you want to do anything, you will do it at your own peril. No longer that I want to, the people have grown. Political consciousness has increased. You agree with me? People are becoming too conscious of politics these days. They're becoming too conscious of the way somebody is elected. They're becoming conscious of even not just the party now, even the person that is coming up to contest. They're becoming conscious.
Let me quickly take on Mr. Olabode here. He has talked about the fact that we are getting conscious, but then despite the fact that we are getting conscious, we are still selling the vote.
Of course.
Some, let's just say all, but the politicians are not, relenting. In fact, it has graduated to a brazen act now. And if you are not very careful, we will begin to see this as normal. But then the question I now want to ask you is this. Okay, we are getting to 2023 elections. Do you see a change between now and 2023? Barrister has said we started from thumb printing of ballot. we have graduated to vote buying, and then maybe we will now go to conscience buying. Do we see conscience playing any role now in 2023 election, or even in Osun elections? Do you see a situation where, when are we eventually going to graduate to conscience? That's another thing. So what's your own take? Given the poverty level of the Nigerian society.
Well, I will say this, we won't get there overnight.
Of course.
But we will definitely get there. And we are taking strides upon strides to get there. The awareness is getting very, very high, just like the barrister said. And the advent of social media, I think Nigerian social media should be one of the hottest around the world. I've not done any poll for that, but if you look at the activism and the activities that go on there, you know that that's the breeding ground for ideas and for revolution. There's so much awareness now that we will come to a time that I believe the elections are coming up sometime in March. Between now and then, we have about 7-8 months. It's enough time for any tsunami to take place, for people to rise up. And secondly, we look at the challenges confronting the nation today. Yes. Every right-thinking Nigerian should be concerned. Whether you are rich, whether you are average, whether you are Christian, Muslim, it cuts across everybody. Okay. Just like a soap opera said, even the rich cry these days. So everybody is concerned, and everybody is looking for who actually will fix this thing. In my own opinion, who actually will fix this thing. And so people will do the right thing. It may not be overnight, but I think there will be a change before 2023.
Well, Barrister, you talked about political consciousness, but it appears to me that we still have a long way to go. We know for a fact, well, I may be wrong, that many elites do not vote. Yes, the political consciousness is so big on social media, but many don't even have their PVC. Many of the voters are artisans, the marketsmen and women. So, well, you and I won't sell our votes, but how you tell a market man or a market woman, for example, we have the saying, Dibu no ko sebe. So does it look as if this will end soon? Because it's a two-way thing. We have a buyer and we also have a seller. As much as some politicians are willing to buy, I think many voters will be ready to sell.
See, the thing is, somebody said, when they give you dollar, you forget your father's name. In Nigeria, when they give you dollar, you forget your father's name. Now, my pastor was preaching on the podium the last time, and he said, God bless you to a poor man is, give me food, let me eat. That's his definition of God bless you. And God bless you to a rich man is, let that contract be signed for me. That's the definition of a rich man of God bless you. And God bless you to a sick man is, let me be healed. That's the definition. So what are you coming to tell a man that has not eaten? Say integrity. When a wise man says something, say when survival becomes the last option, integrity is lost. Okay. When the only thing is on your mind is how do I eat, then the issue of integrity is lost. It is when you eat, you now cool down and talk of integrity. But I know the implication of the vote buying. I know the implication. It's so enormous. It's bad on the government or the system and all that. Somebody that you are selling votes to, and he eventually becomes the president, it's an investment. He will need to make back his money. He collected it from somewhere. Somehow he got the money. He needs to make his money back, and that is going to touch our economy. Okay. But another thing is, if we have strengthened institution, do your vote selling and vote buying, enter the institution forbids you from getting back your investment. So you will not think of, should I still invest huge? And when Dele Momodu was speaking on China television, he said, so some of us were not given. He said, that's why I didn't have any votes, because I was not given. I didn't give anything, so I don't expect anything. But if you give, you should know that at one point or the other, you will suffer for it. Okay. So the next campaign that is on ground now is the campaign of get your PVC, get your PVC on ground. The campaign on ground is sell your PVC, good. The next campaign that will come is, if you sell your PVC, you are mortgaging your future. Sell your PVC, you are mortgaging your future. That campaign will add also. It is when that one add, it will demoralize and destroy the remaining two norms and political values that's already on ground.
Okay, well, Mr. Labode, the umpire now, INEC, what role or what can INEC do in all of this? I remember when we had the debates over whether people should bring their mobile, use of phones around the polling booths or not. Some would say no, it negates freedom, fundamental human rights and all that. So what role, what are you expecting from INEC ahead of the 2023 elections?
I expect INEC to be truly independent. The independence of INEC goes a long way to determine the quality of leadership we produce. As
regards curbing vote buying?
Yes. If INEC is truly independent, you find out that as it stands today, most of the operations of INEC suggest that it will lean towards the government of the day, because they were appointed by the government of the day. Their funding comes from the government of the day. So they will need to be truly independent for us to be able to curb what is going on. Whoever pays the piper will dictate the tune. Okay. It's that simple. And just like he was saying, we need to have strong institutions. Civil liberties will need to be stronger. The INEC itself will need to be stronger. The media itself will need to be stronger. And these ones will call for them being immune to corruption and to being unduly influenced. If we don't do this, we may not get it very, very right. So INEC needs to be true, to be seen to be the umpire that is free and fair, not leaning towards the government of the day, not leaning towards those who are funding them, but to be truly independent, and that's a tall order.
But when you say INEC should be truly independent and should not be seen to be, do you really think, has there been that interference? Has government actually interfered? Even because when you look at 2015, for example, with INEC in power, it was still able to, the opposition was still able to unseat a sitting president. Would you say there's been interference, or are there not internal Nigerian factor even within INEC, that sabotages its own activities, And then when as INEC, and I'm still going to, after you answer that, maybe you want the barrister also to answer it. I think sometimes we tend to over applaud INEC. That's my own personal objective perception. And in other words, you find out that even as we are talking, sometimes up till now, polling materials will not get to the polling stations at 8 o'clock. There are lapses that you would see. Yeah, maybe by the time the whole thing is done and then we give an all-round applause. But these are some of the things INEC has been doing 4 years, 5 years to plan. Ekiti, we know Ekiti is going to happen. We know Osun is going to happen. We know this other one is going to happen in 2023. So we have this terrain. You've always been doing this terrain. You know the topology. You know everything. So can you really say substantially that government has been interfering with INEC? Or are we saying there are other factors? Can we say there are other factors?
Now, if you ask INEC, they will also tell you that the logistics for their operations don't come when they ask for it.
Okay.
And the politician will always be the politician. They will always play to their own advantage. Most of the funding of INEC will not always come in good time. X comes at close to when the elections are to be done. So having said that, I also believe that INEC itself needs to be critical appraisal of its operations. I don't know why we don't imbibe this culture of, after the election, okay, let's sit down around the table. Yeah. Where did we get it wrong? This is how civilized people think. And this is how those who we applaud today got to where they got to. They sit down around the table, okay, what happened? We missed it here. What could be done better? Okay. Do we need to fire who is there? But you see, factors begin to come in. Don't fire him. He's from my local government. His father trained my uncle. And some other very funny things begin to come in.
Okay, but you could say what you want to say. Now, we have already looked at that. And then we also now want to say, okay, you know, this election that we're looking at now, PVC is so important.
Of course.
And you find, I want you to add it to what you want to say. You now say, INEC is saying 3,000 out of 34,000 have collected their PVC. What has INEC itself done to make sure that maybe you put out a list of the 34,000 people or something to say, okay, that is your own corporate social responsibility. You know, get the people to say, okay, this is the number of, okay, we have 34,000 collected. Even if you don't reveal all their names, put something to let them know that somebody who knows somebody will tell somebody to say, okay, my friend, you have not collected or you are just telling us figures, you are giving us figures. And when we hear in the north, people speculate that so many people even do multiple registration, but in the south, some people say you have uncollected. So what is that abracadabra? What goes on?
I think it just like you say, critical personal appraisal or institutional appraisal.
Okay.
Now, if the government in Abuja want to disseminate information, it tells the states, it tells the ministers. The states come here and call the local government chairman and disseminate information to them. Local government chairman call the councillors and disseminate information to them. Councillors call the CDAs and disseminate information to them. CDAs will now know your house one after the other. Is it impossible? Don't we have INEC or one officer in every local government or in every ward where you say, okay, Isaac, your PVC is within your ward, go and collect. Then your CDA chairman will call you personally, when you come and collect your PVC, now what's wrong with you? So exactly what he said. What INEC is just concerned with, let us do what we appear to do. Okay. Then the substance may not be our concern. They are not collecting PVC, so that's the result they want to paint. But what are you doing to make sure that the local government and where this person registered, they are there with you? It's your system, you're seeing it. Why not disseminate it to each local government, take your own? Local government to say, okay, each councillor, whatever, put one officer there, let's be paying him 10,000 naira, be disseminating this thing to people. Anytime you come out, you could just be driving to work and you just collect yours. It's not easier that way. Now, in the area of this is my brother, this is my sister, that is where the judiciary comes in. And that is where my own arena comes in. That is where the civil rights and human rights activist comes in. Now, we read of a case of Anduaka, the former minister of justice. He has been banned. That's what the record stated. That he's banned from contesting political offices because of one case or the other. That sounds a serious note of warning to anybody that is in any office that look. And funny enough, when they took him to court was on one skeletal issue on the other, not on very serious issue that you think. So if human rights activists, if the lawyers now begin to see themselves as not just lawyers that you own a family, buy a car, buy a house, but a lawyer that is to change the society, the social engineers of the society, the changers of what happened in the society is as a result of one law or the other. Today, if the law says, let us do homosexual, the society has changed. You will see a change in character and in behavior of people immediately. You see a change in family because of that law. So the moment you begin, human activists begin to take up, no matter how small you are, begin to take up issues like this. Hey, this man, election material did not arrive at so and so place. That is a default in your office. You have failed. We are taking you to court on this. By the time the man comes to face, by the time he's requesting for money, he will tell Oga, you know the implication. The moment this thing didn't come, they will come and hold me and I will suffer dearly for it. By the time people now become conscious that whatever I do, somebody that is not my friend, somebody that is not a brother is looking at me and he'll come and take me to court and I will pay for it. So when you are coming there, you are afraid for your own self first. But if you are not afraid for yourself, you do anything the way you want to do it.
But you see, what you have said is a very good scenario. But some people also look at the legal profession. They feel that some of you guys also aid and abet. You know, we saw a picture of a man, you know, that was arraigned before the court that said he was sick. You know, he had a collar on his neck, you know, he had crutches and was walking. And then the next thing we saw, this same man gone inside the house. He didn't know that he was being filmed.
He led prayer.
He led prayer. The same guy, you guys, you know, some say that he was advised by his lawyer. You know, so when you paint this beautiful picture, some people are also saying the judiciary too has a problem.
Now, the issue is that man that has done this, remember this thing is already in the media.
Yeah.
If he comes to court and he does anything, sometimes the judge might not tell you, but the judge has formed a very strong opinion about your personality. So you can never gain the trust of the court. You will not gain the discretion in favor of you, of the court, because of the court know you are coming to deceive it. Now, a lawyer that is called to bar by our rules of professional conduct, you are to assist the court in arriving at justice, whether it is against your client. Present everything as it is to the court. Let the court decide. And that's why when a lawyer speaks, sometimes he speaks from the bar and say, "My Lord, I speak as a minister in the temple of justice." So being a minister is not a temple that you desecrate. It's not a temple that it's a hallowed temple that you need to uphold at any point in time. Whether the law, whether somebody is there looking at you or not, the law that you swore to uphold is looking at you. So any lawyer that will go to advise a client to do that does not mean well for the society. It's not even meaning well for the client. Because when that man came, it does not mean that the charge has been removed from his neck. It's just for the purpose of maybe one favor or the other. That you will still suffer it. So if you have a temporary enjoyment of favor as a result of ill advice from anybody, may not be a lawyer, but ill advice from anybody, it is temporary. You are still going to suffer it. The law will still have its course. I am coming to court to tell lies. The man that will put you through cross-examination, the truth will come out from you yourself that you are coming to tell lies. So in one part or the other, you will still make the truth known. That's why some persons come to court and say, "My Lord, you know what? I am guilty. Please have mercy on me." Okay, instead of 20 years imprisonment, you are sentenced to 2 years imprisonment because we see that you are remorseful, you have admitted what you have done. But if you want to deceive the court by all means, and the court see that you're deceiving it, and the court will bring the other side of it. You know, it's like this. This is the scale, and this is the sword. When we weigh it to see how it is, we use the sword to strike. So,
okay. Well, Mr. Labodi, let's dissect the voting structure. Just as we saw in the just concluded election in Ekiti, where people will go to the polling booths at the point of submission, they tend to show whoever that wanted to buy the votes, and this has been happening since 2011. So, but can we, because you said the other time that what if the polling booths could maybe be a bit hidden, from whoever that wanted to, do the buying. But even if that will come to the front burner, there could still be an outcry that, oh, what's going on there? So is there no way you can change the structure in such a way that it will make it almost impossible, for whoever that wants to buy the votes, not to even see? Because the problem we're having now is they tend to see the ballot paper. Then they would decide, yes, this person has voted for our party, has not voted for our party.
It's trying to see the value of what he paid for now.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Moses. I think what we should do is, there's a saying that desperate situations call for desperate measures. Now, today we have been greatly favored with technology, like I said, and we should take advantage of it. There's nothing stopping INEC, and then the place of poll observers too and watchers, from having this thing to be done real time, where it is videoed, where it is being covered. Now, every phone has a camera. So you don't need what Ogtv has. You could just need one person that covers the whole activity of that particular ward. Once you know that you will be caught real time trying to induce somebody's vote or trying to commit an illegality, you would think twice.
Yes.
You would think twice.
In the public already.
Yes. And then you see, secondly, I believe also appropriate sanctions are not being measured out for things. I'm sorry to take us back. By the time people know that in this election, you were found wanting for so and so, and then your name is out there. You are not able to contest election, or you are barred for 5-7 years. It sends a signal. Now, thank God for the case he reported that he just told us about, but that is just one among so many. But by the time we have them in multiples, and it is seen in the southwest, southeast, south, people will think twice.
The situation will become strong.
All right, we just have to close now. Just bring your last words. What I take on Mr. Labode, your last words. And then the fact that social media, the people could take their pictures. There are ways you could take some of these pictures and post it on social media.
Yeah.
You know, if you have, if we have concerned people, we should do this thing more often. You just make your fact. So your last words, Mr. Labode, unfortunately time is not in our favor.
I'll just say the next election is everybody's responsibility. With all hands needs to be on deck. Everybody should do his own bit.
All right, Barrister Isaiah.
We need to improve in our technology. NBA election is coming. I sit in the comfort of my parlor and I vote. And the whole vote will be counted. And the winner will be declared.
Have you tested that?
We have done it. That's what we did to our partner now. I sat in fact, 15 minutes, I sat in the comfort of my home. On my phone, saw all the persons that are contesting. Confirm. It went.
And somebody did not go to court after that?
We did not, the NBA president, nothing. What will you go to court for?
Well, you're all literate. So
And they are the learned people.
on the elections, where we have those that cannot read, those that cannot write, no, illiterate, semi-literate, and so that's not going to be applicable for now.
Let's improve. We will hope to improve, and that's about all we'll be able to take on this segment, criminalization of both buying. We've looked at a lot of issues. We want to thank the gentlemen who have been here to help us look at these issues very well. The public commentator, Mr. Bayo Olabode, we want to thank you very much for being part of this. And the barrister, Isaac Izuya, thank you so very much. It's been quite a good day. Well, I think the message is clear. 2023 is almost here. Let's hope we're going to get it right. We'll be back for another segment after this time out. Stay with us.